guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Jessica and I'm a woman in long-term recovery, and on this channel I talk about substance use disorder, harm reduction, different recovery pathways, and stuff like that. So if you're new here, welcome. If you're not new here, welcome back, you guys. I want to talk to y'all today about methamphetamine. I want to talk to y'all today about this because I have noticed recently that there's a lot of misconceptions about meth use and people who use meth in social media, and not just in social media, but also in treatment facilities and recovery communities, etc. I knew that this was a problem, quote unquote. I didn't realize how big of a problem it was, to be completely honest with you, until probably the last week or so. And the reason that I've realized more about it is because I'm trying to help some people that are experiencing withdrawal from meth, and they're trying to, find their way into whatever their recovery pathway may be, and they are really struggling. And I'm not going to give out any particulars or whatever. You guys know, if you reach out to me and contact me, anything you ever say to me is held in the utmost confidence. I don't share your story with anybody. But even though I'm not going to share specifics about the people that I'm trying to help, I wanted to make a video about this and bring light to it because it's something that needs to be addressed. Meth use is through the roof right now, honestly. It's not uncommon for people to test their meth and find that it has fentanyl in it. And that's a scary thing. So one of the first things that I want to address with you guys is that there's a lot of misconception going on around like the withdrawal process of meth. And there's a lot of influencers on social media and, people that are like recovery coaches and work in this field. There's a lot of misconception going around that you don't have withdrawals from meth and that all you have to do is sleep it off and then you're fine. And that aggravates me so bad, because no matter what you are going through, no matter, if you're a person who struggles with substance use disorder, whatever substance you get addicted to, whether it's opiates, meth, alcohol, caffeine, shopping, no matter what that substance is or what that thing is, when you take that thing away, you do go through withdrawals. For some people, it's not as bad. For some people, it's really bad. Meth and anything like, in the stimulant category is a totally different withdrawal than you would go through if you were, if you were addicted to an opiate. There are different withdrawals, but that doesn't minimize the withdrawals that a person goes through when they stop using that substance. Even though I have used meth when I was in active addiction, but ultimately my drug of choice was opiates, because I didn't, a lot of people consider opiates as downers. I think that's what they're like technically classified as a downer. But when I personally took opiates, I didn't get the sluggish feeling of them. They gave me energy. That's how they affected me personally. Now, when you go through opiate withdrawal, I do have videos about, acute withdrawal syndrome and then post-acute withdrawal syndrome. I have more lived experience with opiate withdrawal because that was my drug of choice. That's what I chose to use. But I have used meth before. And what I noticed when I started, looking into this and trying to research it and trying to figure out the best way to help the people that have contacted me, asking for help, I'm hitting a lot of fucking roadblocks. And to be honest with you, it is really aggravating to me because I never imagined that I would call a treatment center for myself or for anyone else and be told, oh, it's just meth. And that is blowing my mind. That is blowing my mind because it's not just meth. It's a substance use disorder that requires treatment just like any other substance use disorder does. I never imagined that that would be one of the roadblocks that I came up against in trying to help people. I never imagined that I would hear so many times, oh, it's just meth, tell them to sleep it off. Because when you do methamphetamine, there's a lot of withdrawal symptoms that I don't know if people just don't know about them or if they don't classify them as serious enough. But when you go through withdrawal from a stimulant, there's a lot of things that go on in your body, and you may not feel like the restless leg syndrome and the diarrhea and the vomiting and the chills and the sweats like you would if you were going through an opiate withdrawal, but that doesn't diminish what you're going through at all. And I'm so flustered and so aggravated about it, to be honest with you guys, because when someone stops using meth, just some of the withdrawal symptoms, and this isn't all of them, but some of them that I wrote down that I've either been told, person to person, or that I've read about in my research, just some of them are dysphoria, hypersomnia, overeating, depression, vivid dreams, your body having aches and pains, intense cravings. And, cravings suck, especially when you're trying to not use that drug anymore. Any cravings suck, especially if you've been a long-term methamphetamine user. They're super intense, super intense. Most people say that cravings last 3 to 5 minutes. And in my experience, that's true. Like the physical, mental craving of your drug of choice usually lasts 3 to 5 minutes, which, for me to sit here and say 3 to 5 minutes, you're like, oh, that's not that bad. And it's not if you're on the outside looking in. If you are the person that is going through that craving, 3 minutes is a fucking lifetime. That's a long time to have to sit there and fight that craving. 5 minutes? I can't even, and I am very blessed to be as far along in my recovery as I am. So there are certain parts of like my acute phase of withdrawal that I went through that are fuzzy to me. They're not as vivid as what they were when I was going through them or right after. It was the cravings because, when I got into recovery, it really made my depression and my anxiety and everything like come to the surface. And that's a lot of things that's one of the things that people that are going through meth withdrawal experience. They experience that on a whole nother level. So most of the time when people go through withdrawal, period, just as a general blanket statement here, most of the time when you go through withdrawal, you feel really emotional. Your emotions are up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. You have, sadness. And it sounds weird to some people, but when we get into recovery, there are some of us that actually grieve not just the loss of that substance in our body, but we grieve the process of it. We grieve the fact that we don't have to, go and get it anymore. We don't have to prepare it anymore, depending on your way of use. So it's not just the fact that you are letting go of your addiction and that you're starting a new way of life, which is scary on its own, but you're also grieving the process. And I know that sounds probably crazy to a lot of people, but you grieve that because it has become a part of your life and your day-to-day processing, your day-to-day living for so long. But think about it if you are a runner and your favorite thing to do was get up in the morning and throw your tennis shoes on and your workout gear or whatever and leave your house and go for a run every day. That is a process, that's part of, you enjoy the entire process is what I'm trying to say. Like, you enjoy getting up and getting dressed, pulling your hair up, putting your tennis shoes on. You enjoy the getting warmed up so your muscles get loose. You enjoy the actual part of going for that run. But it's not just that. Okay, so imagine if that's something that you did every day and then for whatever reason that got taken away from you. You're not just gonna grieve and miss and have to teach yourself a new way of life because you don't have that activity anymore. You're also going to grieve the process of what you did to get to that activity every day. Does that make sense to you guys? So, like, it's the same thing for people who use drugs and decide that they're not going to use anymore, for whatever those reasons are, because any of those reasons are valid. It's the same way for us. We don't just grieve losing that substance that we have come to depend on, like a crutch in our life, because that's what our addictions are to us. They're, I don't want to say a crutch because that's, it has negative connotations in my mind, but it is. Speaking from my personal experience, my addiction was a crutch to me. If I would get upset, I'd be like, oh, I'm going to go to the bathroom. And I'd go to the bathroom and use. Or I would find a reason to go home. If I would get mad, if I would be really happy, I'd be like, oh, let's go do one to celebrate that I'm really happy. So that's what I mean when I call it a crutch. But I feel like this video is all over the place, and it probably is, but I was just so astonished that so many people in like the recovery community and even other people that are still in active use, people who use drugs, I did not know that they downplayed going through meth withdrawal as much as it is downplayed. And it's honestly just blowing my mind. And I feel like all of us that are in the recovery community, all of us that are in the harm reduction community, any of those communities, all of us need to add this to our list of priorities to change the narrative on this, because there are people out there that are suffering. I mean, suffering big time because they're going through meth withdrawals. And when they reach out and try to get help, their symptoms and how they're feeling is being downplayed. And there's like 3 more symptoms that I didn't say about meth withdrawal, but the last 3 that I kept bumping up against every time, no matter if it was an article I read, a YouTube video I watched, people that I talked to, these 3, constant withdrawal symptoms from methamphetamine use: psychosis and paranoia and anxiety. Just those 3 right there, those 3 withdrawal symptoms that people are going through when they stop using meth, tells me that it needs to be treated with the same way we treat everything else. I don't understand why it's being downplayed as much as it is, and why it's being said, oh, all you have to do to get over using meth is to sleep it off and, eat. And that may take care of the physical part of it, but it seems to me that leaves the mental and emotional part of it just hanging out there to dry, like we don't care about that. And I, for one, I do care about that. And I don't understand why I keep getting told that there's no reason for patients to come in and go through a detox, or for patients to have inpatient or outpatient treatment if they've just used meth. I don't really have an end here where I can end this video and you guys be like, oh, well, that was what Jessica meant to portray in her video and I got it. I feel like, this is going to be an ongoing thing for me. just to add to the list of things that we need to change. Because to me, in my mind, it doesn't matter what drug or substance or activity you used that causes destruction in your life. That doesn't matter to me. And I don't think that it should matter to people that are in treatment facilities and, therapy. What should matter is that someone has a problem. They're trying to fix it and find a way to live their life without that substance or drug or whatever the case may be. And they're reaching out to us for help. Bottom line, it shouldn't, to me, it shouldn't be oh, well, you just use this. I can't imagine. We would never, ever tell someone that was a heroin addict or a fentanyl addict or an Oxycontin addict. We would never tell them, oh, you just used oxys. So go home and sleep it off and be okay. Like, why are we telling people that get addicted to methamphetamine that it's just meth? Why are people going on their social media accounts and saying meth withdrawals ain't shit and all you got to do is go home and sleep it off and drink some water and eat some food and you'll be fine? I don't understand that. And I don't accept it. And I don't know what needs to be done, but I wanted to come on and talk to you guys about it because, number one, I love getting y'all's feedback. And, if you're comfortable sharing in a public way, I would love to hear your stories. And, you don't have to tell me like what state you're in, but like what state you're in. If you've had positive results or bad results when you tried to seek out treatment for yourself, if you're willing to share that, I would love to, have you guys leave a comment down below. If you want to share your story and you want it to be kept confidential, but you are willing to share it, please shoot me an email or a DM on any of my social media. Because like I said, I don't know what I'm going to do about this, but I'm going to do something. Because, the whole point of being in recovery and helping people is to ease their suffering and to help them get from one step to another to another. If I wouldn't have people helping me along the way, sometimes holding my hand, sometimes picking me up and carrying me, and I mean figuratively, but, from one step to the other, I wouldn't be sitting here making YouTube videos about recovery today. I wouldn't be able to say that I just celebrated, 3 years at the beginning of this month. I wouldn't be where I am today if I didn't have other people helping me. And I think that's what bothers me about this the most, is that there is a whole large group of people out there that are suffering, that are reaching their hands out to us. And a lot of us are telling them, that they're not valid. I just want to say, for anybody watching, if you or anybody is going through this and you have, beat your head against the same walls that I'm beating my head against, and you're having experiences like I am, trying to help people, or, if you have any experience with this at all, if you are going through this right now, please know that you're not alone. You are not alone, and there is no one in the world that should ever downplay how you feel. If you've had that experience, I'm really sorry. And I know that doesn't do much for me to come on here and like apologize for other people's actions, but please just know you're not alone, okay? The way you feel is very valid. And if there's anything at all that I can do to help any of you guys, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Okay? All of my contact information is always in my description boxes on every single video that I have. Don't hesitate to reach out to me, whether you want someone to talk to or whether, you need somebody to make phone calls for you, whatever the case may be, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. You do not have to go through this alone, and you are not the only one feeling this way. I'm going to end it today here because I'm going to get back on my phone and make some more phone calls and see if I can get some things figured out. I love you guys. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Remember to be nice to each other. All of us have things going on that nobody else knows about. And you just never know what somebody is going through. So, just be nice to each other. You never know how big of a change you can make in somebody's day just by showing an act of kindness. So, I'm going to let you guys go. As always, if you need Narcan or if you need to be trained in Narcan, please don't hesitate to shoot me an email. I know that there is a big shortage of it going on right now, so I am one of the people that can get my hands on it. Not in big bulk, but I can get my hands on it. So if you need it or if you need to be trained in how to administer it, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. My email is in my description box below, along with all my other social media contacts. So I love you guys, and I will see you on the next one.